BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we'll be answering about that team on our August 20th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we're talking about the Leon Bearcats.
Yep, and this is a DeLeon program like so many others in the area this year that will have a new coach, Coach Jacob Marwitz, who had done a really nice job there, left over the offseason to join the staff over at Brownwood, and in his place steps Brennan Whitaker, the former offensive coordinator at North Richland Hills Birdville, a large school out from the Metroplex area, and he's going to inherit a really nice situation, in my opinion. They're coming off a 7-5 season, back-to-back area finalist seasons. 19 of 27 lettermen back from last year's team, including 9 offensive and 8 defensive starters. They've got a good JV coming up, so a lot of positives with the situation that Coach Whitaker will step into. But they will have some questions to answer, obviously, and we'll talk about a few of those here in just a few minutes.
All right, before we start talking about DeLeon, we want to remind you folks, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It's free, and then also hit that little bell, and you'll receive notifications each and every time that Big Country Preps posts a video there. And with that, Dan, big questions about DeLeon. Go ahead and fire away first.
I think the first one is just about Coach Whitaker and kind of what changes we're going to see to that program. Unlike a few of the other programs we've talked about, this is an external hire, so you know there's going to be some differences being brought in. You know, some cultural differences, some terminology differences, some schematic differences. There's going to be some new staff. I mean, I'm just interested to see how that transition goes for the Bearcats this year. Obviously, Whitaker comes from a successful large school program, brings a really explosive offense with him to DeLeon, and he's got some really nice talent to work with on that side of the football. Some kids who have just done some really special things for them over the past several years, so that's got to be exciting for him. But the big thing is anytime you have a new coach, there is a transition period, there is a learning curve. I'm just interested to see how quickly they can kind of get through that learning curve to play to their potential, because if they can reach the height of their potential this year, I think they've got a chance to have a really special season.
One of the bigger questions that I would have about them is they're not the biggest. They're not the biggest guys on the block. I mean, they have a lot of experience back, 9 and 8 as far as starters, 19 returning lettermen, a 7-3 JV team to help bolster that talent, but they're not the biggest team on the block. They're going to be running the spread, so that helps to circumvent any kind of perceived size problem. Defensively, can they stop people from pushing them over? That's the big question. That'd be one of the big keys for them to make a really long run and having a great year, I think, is going to be stopping the run. If they find a way to consistently stop people from pushing them over, we're looking at a nice season, a very nice season for DeLeon.
And yeah, I agree. And then the last question that I'd have to discuss here tonight is we mentioned kind of at the beginning about this senior class. Every once in a while, at these small schools especially, you get a class that comes through that you point to, and you're like, when these kids are seniors, we got a chance to be really good. I think DeLeon has that type of senior class. You look, they have one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the area. They've got really good skill position players up and down, 1,000-yard receiver. They've got good running backs. I mean, they're this is a team that has the pieces to really, I think, put together its best season in a long time. And my thing is are they going to be able to capitalize that on that? I think this is one of those years where this is potentially a stars aligning type year for this program. And my question is just with this senior class, can they maximize this group's potential to have the best season possible? Because I think they're in a district that's obviously very tough, very competitive. But if they can have the type of season they're hoping to, there's a chance they could win a district championship. There's a chance they can make a playoff run, and I'm just interested to see if they can put everything together this year. Because if they can, like we've said, it's going to be a really fun season for DeLeon.
It makes that non-district portion of their schedule pretty important. That's when you want to absorb the system and get your mistakes out of your system, and get ready for district play, and then for from their perspective, hopefully a long playoff run. So that makes that non-district portion of that schedule quite
Yeah.
important. And we will take a look at that schedule momentarily. But first, we need to thank a few of our sponsors. Beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Brackenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Bracken, KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, call Rob. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Give him a shout at 254 559 2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Cavalry Resources and Construction, located up in Breckenridge, serving the entire big country, offering custom standing seam roofing made on location and all commercial roofing applications. Give Kobe Walker a shout at 254 246 5546. That is Cavalry Resources and Construction in Breckenridge. All right, and with that, it's time to take a look at the 2025 schedule for DeLeon. We'll take a look at the non-district portion first. An August 29th home date with Dublin will open things up, then followed by a road date at Stanford on September 5th, another road date at Valley Mills on the 12th of September, followed by a home date against Holly on the 19th, and a road date at Munster on the 26th. And that is one tough non-district portion with Stanford, Holly, and Munster all in the mix.
Yeah, no question. You mentioned about how important that will be, and no cakewalk there at all. They will have their open date on October 3rd before opening district against Heiko at home on the 10th of October. They'll stay home with a game against Coleman on the 17th before going to Ballinger on October 24th. They'll host Bangs on October 31st and then wrap their schedule up, regular season schedule that is, at Hamilton on November 7th. So a really good competitive schedule that should be a lot of fun to watch with what this DeLeon team has back this year.
All right, game of the year for DeLeon. Um, in that district, it could be any number of games, but what do you see as the most important game?
To me, I think I look at it and look at that last game at Hamilton. Hamilton was the district champion, went undefeated last year through the regular season, won their region. I think Hamilton is probably going to be considered the favorite by a lot of people. To me, that game could well decide the district championship in this district. I think this is a very competitive district, and I think as far as the playoff positioning goes, it could go any number of ways. But I do think that DeLeon at Hamilton game could be the game of the year in that entire district.
I partially agree with you. I also would throw in the home date against Coleman on October the 17th. I think it's going to, if DeLeon wants to win the district championship, and I think they're going to have the talent to potentially do that, that home date against Coleman is going to be awfully important because Coleman is going to be a contender for that championship as well as Hamilton. That season finale at Hamilton could be for all the marbles, though. You are correct.
Yeah, but it should be a fun. I love this district. It's a really fun district to follow, and I think it'll be a good competitive one for DeLeon and prepare them well for the playoffs.
All right, and with that, it's about time to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Two A Day series, the Leon Bearcats. But before we do that, we want to remind you that August 20th is the big day for Big Country Preps. That's the day we release our preseason preview. It's going to have previews for all of the football teams that we cover throughout the area. It'll have player features, more than 40 player features. We'll have predictions, we'll have opinion pieces, we'll have stats, we'll have standings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You name it, we're going to have it. Don't forget to join us on August 20th.
In the meantime, we appreciate you joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Day series, and we encourage you to come back tomorrow when we wrap up the District 5 2A Division 1 look ahead with the Heiko Tigers here at BigCountryPreps.com.